Recording started. Red dot confirmed.
All the best, and I hope you rock it.
Welcome back to the second part of this podcast. You're talking to NP.
Hi, Ankush. Pleasure being here. I'm doing very well.
So, NP, you studied aerospace engineering in your bachelor's and then did master's in a more generalized topic. So, and then now you're working in leadership roles. So, how is this journey? Tell us about this transition from aerospace engineering to engineering lead and maybe to, further up the ladder.
So I took aerospace engineering at a time frame where India was not prepared for or did not have a very good opportunity for aerospace or aeronautical engineers because of not so privatization of the sector. And it was during my training in ISRO where I realized that aerospace is an extremely focused area, and if I pursue my masters in the same, given the considerations of uh, you know legality in the US, because if you are associated with aerospace and defense, you need clearances, and in order for you to get security clearances in the US, you have to either be a citizen or a green card holder at most of the instances. So, number one, I kind of understand that I should choose a more generic course so that I increase the probability of uh, getting and landing into a job. Number two was understanding how the dynamics works besides any of my academic performances. Like I told, security clearances and opportunities in aerospace. So I chose mechanical engineering basically because the project that I did in ISRO had a lot of design and analysis and manufacturing uh, work, and I was really passionate about developing products and moving that idea phase to a product phase and kind of commercialization, etc. So I did my masters in mechanical engineering, and I was very fortunate to land up in jobs which kind of gave me opportunities to discover my leadership skills. So uh, the first company that I worked for was a startup, and we were trying to make a smart tea infusing bottle. I was in a company which had like four people, and everything was supposed to be done by me, like essentially from an engineering design to figuring out how do I make a motor move, to have some plunger move up and down, Arduino, everything. So you are at a state where you are given the platform to explore, and I kind of was lucky to be in a vulnerable environment because I had to learn in order for me to survive. And eventually, I moved into a more project engineering role where I started understanding how the commercial aspects of a business work. Though there is an engineering component that I'm qualified to work for, I was given an opportunity to understand how the commercial aspects of the business work, which was very important because if you see businesses at the end of the day, you have a product, whether it's an engineering product or a non-engineering product, and how do you commercialize it? How do you ensure that you run it? So I got a clear understanding of end-to-end process that goes from providing a quotation for a job to completing a job, which has engineering, which has fabrication, which has installation, which has documentation, which has various team management, material management, and all of these. So the way I see it is an engineering role is more focused towards the product, whereas when you move up and when you kind of see yourself to be a like a manager or beyond a manager, you are basically seeing it as how do I use the secret sauce that I have and how do I run the show for myself. So I have had various experiences, from being a lead to being a head of engineering to right now I'm an associate director for a company. So when you understand that there is a secret sauce and you know how the secret sauce is prepared, and when you understand that the secret sauce can be produced in bulk by so and so process and by so and so strategy, and when you understand that whatever you have produced can be sold for an existing problem statement at any part of the world, and that's how you transit from engineering role to a leadership role, where you start understanding from a holistic perspective than a focused perspective.
Like from a perspective of your job profile, like you've been a lead, now you're an associate director. So what is it that you do? What is your job profile or your typical day like? Because why I'm asking this question is, you see a lot of job postings on different platforms, which are now very abstract. To my surprise, you don't even understand what that job requires you to do. Right? They put a bunch of skills that are required, bunch of things that you to do. But so trying to understand what typically an associate director or a manufacturing lead does.
So I'll answer your question in two parts. I'll first talk about what I do as on a daily basis. So I'm mostly into strategy and business ops, which means that, like I said, there is a secret sauce. So my job is to understand how do I make this secret sauce sellable, and productify that secret sauce and scale that secret sauce. For example, let's say I want to manufacture 100 units of the sauce. How do I do that? I figure out the methods to do that. And I strategize on what needs to be done when, understanding the market demands and understanding the kind of. There are a lot of aspects that come into picture here, which ranges from market readiness of your client to cost to many things. So I strategize product and I strategize how the product needs to be driven from like a research phase to a productification phase. And the second thing that I do is business ops. So so the so the sauce that I was talking about essentially can probably will be prepared for a particular set of audience or a particular client. Whereas more than often you understand that, okay, this sauce, if it is modified a little bit and if it is added with certain other features, you'll be able to sell it for a much larger audience, much larger market. So my role consists of this as well. I kind of do productification for various domains. I understand how you can sell whatever you have as a secret sauce in various domains. How do I create market demand for that? How do I ensure that there is a business opportunity created? What do I do in order to catch up with that opportunity? And I work very closely with the marketing and the sales team. And I also oversee a little bit of operations, mostly to do with policy making and some regulatory. But that's what I do on a regular basis. Again, you probably will find this very abstract. And the beauty is, India is actually in a phase of change, which means that so far we were at a place where you did computer science engineering, you know C programming or Python or Java or whatever. You have a job profile which said that you need to know this, you need to know this, and you just hop on and you just start playing just like any other team member that you have. But we are at that phase where we are actually creating products and actually solving real life problems by those products. So I keep joking with a lot of my teammates that we usually hire people uh, uh, telling them that this is what you will be doing, but at the end of the day, if you see, they'll be
End
doing
of the
more
day,
than
it's Yeah.
they'll be doing more than what they are actually hired for. And I do not see that to be a bad thing, because if you see, that's how US actually grew so quickly. Number one, adaptability and acceptance that is there in India right now was what was there back in the 80s and 90s in the US, and the infrastructure that we did not have is here right now. So uh, that's the shift that you probably would have seen. And if you ask me, the role description that you see in a big company like a multinational company which is into software versus a medium-sized company or a startup which is not into software, most of the people seek people uh, who are doers, which means that all that I really care about in any of the interviews that I take, I usually take the last round of interview right now to decide whether this candidate should be there in the team or not. I usually see just three traits. One, whether this person has the attitude to adapt, number one. Number two is whether this person can actually do what he's saying, because that's very important. With AI, they come so prepared that you ask any question, they'll probably answer. So there are methods to find out whether they're actually capable of doing what they are saying. And number three is whether they're committed for the vision that we have, because that becomes very important, especially when you are in an environment which is very dynamic. The alignment of the thought processes should be very, very sharp. And these are the only three things that I see. I mean, of course, the previous rounds of interviews will usually have technical ability checks and how is their problem solving ability, how do they approach a problem, and all of those things. But when it comes to me, I don't really care whether this person knows a particular language and whether this person knows a particular software, etc. If the person can actually tell me how he's going to solve me that problem, uh, and if he can prove that he is capable of solving that problem, irrespective of the background that he or she comes from, I'm okay with it. So. The shift is definitely there. I see a lot of people who are capable of managing this shift flourishing like anything in India. I see on par salaries that people join US being offered in India. Um, you'll be surprised. The product that we have in my company right now, no other company in the world has. It's a portable OCT machine which comes with a three-dimensional imaging technology. Nobody else has, and we are really proud of such things. And that's the reason you see more abstract postings. A lot of the times the resource seekers themselves will not have much of a clarity on what exactly they want. So they know that there is a problem that they are facing and they need some resource to solve that problem. And they know that the existing team will not be able to solve that problem. And that's how they try to match to fix up that gap that's open.
So the way I look at jobs is to any job there are two aspects. One is a very mundane kind of thing that you do every day. You just show up at whatever 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock to the office and do that. And there is some creative angle to it, some highly what you say revered or grandiose kind of where you kind of go beyond and do certain things. I guess leadership is kind of the same. So from that perspective, you tell me, how do you balance these? Like processes are very important, systems are very important to be in place, and there is something that there are some instances where you have to break them and go beyond and do some creative or bring in some creative out of the box angle. So tell us about both how the standard operating procedures and the creative angle, how is it important?
Actually, a very good question. This is something that I keep going back and forth with. So, um, before you do the exciting part of your work, what you should see is how can you ensure that whatever you bring in as an idea or as an opportunity is processed well in the team. So you set standard operational procedures or operating procedures for most part of it, where that will be the first thing that you set as a leader, where there is some dynamics that works for you and some that doesn't work for you, because most of the time when you are in a very rapidly changing R&D environment, you have the R&D group, you have the production group, then you have commercial group. You are working with all of these people at the same time, and each of them come with a various skill set, various approach, and various patterns in which they do their job. So the first and the most important thing is you set the rules of the game very clear, and ensure that the rules of the game are followed very strictly. So that's the SOP part of the job. I don't think it's mundane, because even there you have the ability to bring in your touch to the entire SOP. So, for example, one of the things that I believe personally, and I have seen huge success, is giving people the opportunity to lead themselves, which necessarily can be very very risky at certain duration at certain instances, because you are risking something, you have invested a lot of money and a lot of time and all of that. But if you are capable of giving or handing over responsibility to every individual that's in the team after you set the rules, and they understand that they don't need you to do what they are doing, that's the differentiator that is going to change things drastically. So for me, it's very important that the rules are set, responsibilities are very clearly defined and told to people. At the same time, they are given freedom to bring in their own thought processes to solve anything. So I feel it's an exciting part for me as well. I mean, on a regular basis, maybe every week I come up with a new SOP for something. We are at a stage where we moved out of the R&D to a production phase. So there is huge market demand. We are taking orders, so we are trying to stabilize our production, supply chain, etc. So there is a lot of SOP that I do, but like I mentioned, you have your own curated methodology that you can use, which doesn't make you feel that you're bored of doing that. And the exciting part, like I told you, you understand that there is a secret sauce. You understand that there is a market which is facing a huge problem, and your secret sauce can actually solve that problem. And how do you productify? Should you add any software accessibility? Should you add any hardware accessibility? Can you instrument your secret sauce to a different stream altogether? This is definitely an exciting part. I think I have to thank my CEO for believing in me and giving me this opportunity for almost 2 years now. I mean, I've been thoroughly enjoying, and hopefully I'm doing the best, and that's why I'm still here.
So tell me about at individual level, uh, managing all these things at once. You need some extra skills, right? And being from engineering background, you can talk about these that an engineer always optimizes. So if we talk of people skill, we talk of communication skills, like soft skills and hard technical skills. But these like common sense sometimes, or logic, and this optimization, they fall in the middle, I guess, on the boundary. But they're pretty important. What do you say?
So, like I said, the way I add people to the team, or anybody. I mean, it's not me who always adds the team members, but we follow certain principles. Like I told you, that is very clear about the common sense part. You cannot teach people common sense. So that's there, and of course you are right in terms of technical ability. So I'll give you a classical example. See, I'm a mechanical aerospace background, where most of my life I have done mechanical engineering, manufacturing jobs, and the company that I'm with right now, we do a lot to do with optics. And optics, I'm again very proud that we are the only company in India who is capable of doing such high-end optics, we have very big clients across sectors because of our capabilities. So it becomes imperative for me to know what is happening in optics as well, because I will be the person who will be kind of talking to the client most of the time. So if I do not understand what is that is going on in optical engineering, it becomes very difficult for me to even converse with my client. Most of the times, all of these guys are, you know, very well qualified and in big positions for actually solving some very serious problems that they have. So one thing that I have followed is I spend a lot of time in understanding anything and everything that I work on. So for example, when I say optics, I spend probably like 2 or 3 days at the start of any new project that we take up to understand the entire dynamics of why are we doing this, where will the client probably be able to use the solution, how is the engineering done, how is the production, how is the production is going to happen, because at the end of the day you are reached out to by your client thinking that you are an expert. So you have to guide your client from not just a research phase but from a production phase as well. You have to tell them that okay, if this is the price that you can manufacture this, this is how you will be able to sell it. So it's important to very clearly have a team which understands the middle path. Most of the times, optimization also should be stopped at a certain point in time. You know, we can definitely optimize. How much ever you want, and you probably realize that okay, this is the best that I can do. So the optimization factor comes in when you can actually realize that okay, this is the best that I can do, and any other change that can probably improvise the stage that I'm in necessarily doesn't do a huge difference to whatever I'm doing. So, for example, let's say I optimize some design, which is probably going to save $1 on each product. I will not really care about it, right? So, as long as uh, it's a big delta change that I can, I can foresee, I will have to choose that middle path. And of course, your team is what is very important. Like, if you do not have the right team, irrespective of how beautiful your idea is, how great your technology is, you will not be able to achieve anything.
So what I can sense from your answers is there is a very personalized or individualistic approach to all these challenges that you face in a job or in a leadership role. So I would like to ask you about the impact of AI at this point. Uh, like, is it positive? Is it counterproductive? How is it? How do you see the impact of AI uh, on manufacturing sector?
So you see, manufacturing is divided into various phases. You know, like you're in a prototype stage. Excuse me, you're in a prototype stage, and then you're in a, like a beta production stage, and then you're in a scaled up stage. So if you see the historically robotics and automation were probably the first domains to have AI. And when I mean robotics, I'm talking about car manufacturing plants who have robots instead of humans to fit their doors, to screw their doors, to put in their engine, to move their lines, whatnot. I mean, manufacturing has been one of the very first domains to adapt and embrace AI. And like I mentioned, in each of the phases of manufacturing that you are, definitely AI has changed the way we work. For example, uh, um, back in the day, if I had to kind of uh, figure out what method of 3D printing do I choose for achieving something, right? I will probably have to use uh, every analysis. I give a definition of FDM, SLA, or whatever, and then I do a analysis of that, interpret those results, and all of that. Now it's just you do a comparative analysis. You just feed it in the AI, and it is going to tell you that how is going to be the strength, what's going to be the everything is simplified and quicker. So the way I see AI is definitely productive. I don't see it as counterproductive at all, because AI has definitely increased efficiency, definitely changed the way people think, changed the way people operate, and in manufacturing it is no different. I think back in the days you probably saw 3 or 4 cars coming out every month, and now you see hundreds and hundreds of cars coming out every month. So without AI and without automation, none of these things would have happened. Even in our industry, we have AI used at every level. Uh, and it's a positive change. A lot of people, it's a very debatable topic. A lot of people think that it's going to kill jobs, it's going to do that, it's going to do this,
I
but
think it's too early to say that, isn't it?
it's
Too
too
early.
early. And one of my vice presidents in the US used to joke, like he used to say, yeah, maybe at the end of the day, everything is done by AI, but you need somebody to say to the AI that you need to do this. So you always have an opportunity as long as you're adaptable and capable with whatever you're doing. So definitely, AI is a very big game changer in any industry. It just depends on how you use that and adapt.
So let's talk global now. First of all, tell us about the significance of manufacturing sector, because it's a major sector which contributes to the economy. And also tell us about India's standing globally in this sector, because Indian government has been pushing for through different initiatives for manufacturing in India through Make in India kind of schemes. So tell us about these two aspects.
So, what has evolved over time is we had a lot of dependencies on various countries for certain things that we wanted to achieve. Majoritarily was on manufacturing, where we had huge dependencies on various countries, from a very small part to a very big part, maybe like a car or even an aircraft or ship or whatever, right? So the transition from that phase where we'll be like, okay, so I want to design something. As soon as I design, I send it to China or I send it to Taiwan. I get that design prototype and I bring it here. So if you see the process that's involved, you send a request for quotation, you get a quotation. It's a very lengthy process, and if you see from a productivity standpoint, it was pathetic. I have observed where when I was in the US, because of cost constraints, I used to work with Chinese vendors. Every time I did a design change, like an iteration, and I sent it to China, it took almost like 2 weeks for me to see it physically in my hand. But today, we do something, some design change that is very significant. I put it for printing in the night. Next day morning, I have it. I can actually see that. So that's a very personalized explanation that I gave you. But globally, if you see the Make in India, what it has changed is it again goes back to how the world is seeing India right now. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be self-sustainable, independent, and they just want to do everything by themselves without any dependencies for any sort of political or economic relationship with the other countries. So, Make in India has definitely changed in the way in which people think. The classical example that I can give you is back in the days, doctors used to always prefer, made in Europe or made in US products, similar to what you see most of the people even now. Like for example, let's say somebody buys a camera or a phone from Apple, or somebody buys a phone from Samsung. They always are more excited than somebody buying from an Indian brand, right? And doctors, I have seen, are embracing made in India products now. So people have become creators. The creation has made them shoot up the quality because they have to be competitive with the global standards. So we are providing quality, we are providing the same set of features that any other company in the world is going to provide you, and at a cheaper cost. And the beauty of everything being manufactured in India is the warranty and the serviceability that you get with it. For example, let's say you buy an imported car from US or Europe and you don't have any service technician here, you probably have to wait for the service technician to fly from that country to India and then get your car serviced. Whereas you buy a Tata or Mahindra, you just go drop it, you fix it in like 2-3 hours. So that's how I see the shift is. And because of these sort of positive push that the government is making, a lot of creators have emerged out. People who thought that, okay, I have to do this job so that I can run my family and give a good life to my wife and kids or whatever. They have come out of that and they've started thinking like I can create this which is going to revolutionize things. I can do this which is going to change the way people operate and live. So it's like giving freedom and opportunity at the same time with these sort of initiatives that has transitioned with the manufacturing sector.
We saw this during COVID that electronics was hugely, hampered. There were a lot of obstacles in producing or manufacturing chips, right? And that created a huge impact on many electronics related products. Now this is a twofold question. Tell us about this whole dependency on other. You touched upon it. So that is one aspect. Tell us more about it. And second aspect is in a product where you have different things like a mechanical aspect, electronics aspect. So how do you deal with such dependencies for a product so complex that it has both mechanical and electronics kind of
So there are two things that always matter in anything, right? As in anything with, to do with product. One is the time, and the second thing is money. So if you ask about electronics and maturity of electronics in India, it again becomes a very historical question where some bad decisions were taken by government where they did not push for chip manufacturing, which would have probably made India number one by now. Anyway, that's a different topic. But the way you choose it is what's the best and the easiest path for me to have what I want, right? So there are instances where you have something that's ready and available, which we call off the shelf, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel for those components. It can be anything from a cell to a battery, anything and everything that somebody has manufactured in some part of the world, which is a plug and play for the product that you are developing. And second thing is, I want to develop it all by myself and make it completely in India or whatever. So it all boils down to money and time. If you have the ability to afford both, which is a very ideal case, you will be able to do everything in India. You will be able to do everything uh, in-house. But even I don't think the dependency of countries for raw materials, for products, for components will change drastically. The only thing that I see is the scale of dependency will change. For example, maybe 100% of our chip imports, chips were imported, now it's not so. Maybe 100% of our cars were imported, now it's not so. So similarly, the scale will definitely change with these initiatives in manufacturing, where you will not really try to source components and parts locally than waiting for a or depending on a different manufacturer. But otherwise, if you have the capability to afford time and money and build everything from scratch, why not? I mean, that's going to be the most idealistic thing to do. As long as you know how to make profits from those investments, it's worth it.
Okay, and how about talent? Do you get all sort of talent within India, from India, to work on different aspects of manufacturing?
Absolutely. Uh, I'm really surprised with the kind of people that India is producing. I mean, you have to search a lot. Most of the times, I get so disappointed. I post a job or I ask my HR to post a job, and they don't even read what the job description is. They just randomly apply and they kind of ruin their time, our time, everybody's time. But the intent in which people come with and the knowledge that they possess, you do have really, really serious talents in India who can change a lot of different things just by themselves. Like you just need to give them a an opportunity and a platform, and they will bring in ideas to solve something you wouldn't have imagined to solve. So talents are definitely there. I think It's just that you have to spend a little bit of time and follow your emotions of whom you hire. But there is definitely no scarcity of talents. I mean, if you see most of the CEOs of big companies are Indian origin, though I mean they're not Indians, of course. They would probably be a US citizen or a Swedish citizen or whatever. But if you see, they are all Indian origins. So it all goes back to the versatility that we bring in our approach. Uh, that you have to see. But in terms of talent, I am very happy, and I'm really impressed with the kind of things that they bring on board.
So, how do you see the candidates coming up? Because my observation is now this whole perspective has changed. A lot of people, even if they do their bachelor's, they are doing very specialized projects. They are working on very specialized fields and internships. Their resumes look like a master's, to be honest. Uh, there is this whole debate in academics about specialization versus generalization, and even in industry, I suppose, to some extent. Uh, on one hand, the jobs are getting more and more abstract and more individualistic or personalized. That a certain person or a certain set of persons can fit into that role. At the same time, how the students, what do you say, should they approach to this particular changing scenario? Should they converge their CV or resume to a particular subfield of their domains, engineering, or should they explore different things, at least during their bachelor's, to get a view of their field, their engineering?
So again, with the pace in which things are changing in terms of technology, and not just technology, the way in which everything is going around in the world, specialization in a particular field with a more focused approach is a good thing, as long as you want to do something in research, or you want to do something where you are very clear about, okay, I will be a creator of something, and this is what I want to be the creator of. The reason I say this is, I work with a lot of PhDs, and most of them who would have done their PhD in, say, image processing will be working with a different problem statement. So I mean, you are a PhD, so you know the amount of efforts and interests that would have gone behind, uh, you know, doing what you did. Uh, it's kind of not really useful to have a completely streamlined niche expertise, because at the end of the day, how is the opportunity for the knowledge or the skills that you possess matters. Like an average individual, he doesn't want to do something and finish a course, or do a PhD and then say, okay, I have so much of knowledge, but I don't know where I can put this knowledge into, right? So I think what really is important is how is that you are capable of learning these changes of technology, learning these changes of processes that goes behind with the technology, and adapting that to your used case. That's the skill set that will help you going forward. Like for example, if somebody told me that you could build a house using a 3D printer back in 2010, I would have said no. I don't think that's definitely a possibility. It's just a joke. Probably you can build a small, like a toy for a kid. But today, you see that's you have molded houses, which is like like a plug and play module, like a Lego block. You just bring everything
True,
together
true.
and
We have
just
somewhere in India, we have a post office built of a
right.
3D printer. Yeah.
So you see, what is important is, okay. Now I know that this is the way in which I can actually manufacture something fast, more financially sensible, and I adapt that in my work. that's the skill I see. I don't really see, do I really know how do I code the robot to do, tolerance verification? None of those things are required. You should be able to learn what it does. How do you plug and play that in your uh, ability? So a more generic resumes are good, but there should be some level of work, serious work that you should have done. One of the biggest mistakes that a lot of people do is they just copy paste from chat gpt on their resume, and when you get on a call you get so disappointed that like they will not know the A's and the B's of what they're talking about. So that's very disappointing. But as long as uh, you know what you're talking about and you're capable of delivering that, I think that is sufficient. And again, if you are somebody who wants to be in research, or you want to do like a consulting job for a very niche domain where that's you see a good opportunity, it's not bad to pursue that as well. But at the end of the day, I feel everybody should know whatever they are learning or whatever they are doing, what's the scale of that? What's the scale of acceptance of whatever you possess with you? How big is it? And that's what really matters.
Well, towards the end of this podcast, let's come back to education or to classroom. I want to specifically ask you this question because there is this ongoing debate of industry academia gap or employability of students. Uh, what I want to ask you is there are many aspects of a job that cannot be taught in the classroom, right? Like you being in a decision making role, there are many real life challenges that you face. All of them could not have been taught in the classroom. Uh, so how do you see classroom engineering education, and what students should focus on to be ready to be ready for the job market?
Employability is a very subjective question because um, the landscape of employable companies have changed over time. How they see a resource to be convincing enough for them to bring them onto the team, but the gap from academia to industry, I think it has closed. I mean, it's kind of smaller than what it was when I was pursuing my engineering. Like I said, I did aerospace engineering, and I learned a lot about aircrafts and spacecrafts, and but at the end of the day, I mean, I didn't have a place to go and put that knowledge or skills to work. So now they have decreased that gap. They have brought in internship programs, and it's mandatory. I mean, I don't know about a lot of different universities, but all the big universities that I'm aware of, they have a mandatory internship program where you have to have a industry experience. You do a 3 month or a 6 month internship, and you kind of gain that exposure and come back and then choose a few other subjects that you want to have a closure on for your degree, which is going to help you land in a job. Those things have changed, and I think it is a very difficult question to answer because it's not just the students, right? It's the infrastructure. You are given today. I think just in Karnataka you have about 16,000 engineering seats that are vacant. So they have uh, so many number of colleges and uh, universities which are subpar, which doesn't really have good quality teachers, good quality infrastructure for them to host students. And you can't really blame the students per se. It's to do with the entire political, educational setup of the country and setup of the state. But in terms of where I saw employability when I passed out of engineering versus where I am seeing employability right now, the gap is much smaller. As in, I hire people to start as an intern at many roles, which almost every month or two we have interns coming up doing some very interesting things where they use their skill sets to solve an existing problem or develop something for a futuristic product that we want to do, etc. And uh, it is definitely convincing for me. But like I said, the filtration process will take a lot of time and efforts. You cannot find good quality resource like this. That's not going to happen. You have to have a pattern in which you filter these people and interview these people, find these people. One of the belief system that I have is you don't have to be from IIT or NIT or BITS or any of these top universities. You can be from a government college and you can do wonders. But you just have
True.
to find that person. So it is dependent on us rather than dependent on the students. And I see a very, very strong future for India because of these reasons. We have, I mean, at least I can talk about the team that I'm working with right now. I'm incredibly proud. Like they do things that most of the PhDs will not be able to do with just their bachelor's degree. So that's how you can train them. That's how you can motivate them to achieve and beyond a certain extent. And yeah, so that's how I see the transition has definitely happened. We just have to ensure that whenever and wherever possible, we should restrict a lot of people doing something at the same time. You know, like it's like you shouldn't make human beings as sheeps. You just don't send everybody into the one same lot, and at the end of the day, they come out of that lot. You can't use them anywhere. So the diversification is very important, and uh, that's happening. It will happen.
Sure. So my final question to you is, uh, looking back, because making decisions or taking decisions is part of your job profile. So do you regret any decisions, and what would you tell the students out there? Uh, how wary should they be of taking decisions, or should they be just out and out about it?
So, of course, it's a process, right? Like you call it maturity than a process. So, one of the things that I keep feeling bad about, not for myself, but most of my classmates in aerospace engineering who are really, really smart people, uh, more very smarter than me, who do not have a great career right now because of the decision that they took. You know, they kind of continued with aerospace masters. They went abroad for aerospace. They did PhDs in aerospace, and unfortunately, I have not seen them taken off. The reason is maybe I was very well informed about those crucial switches that I made from aerospace engineering to mechanical engineering, from mechanical engineering to strategy, business roles, those sort of roles. Any decision that you take should be well thought. You have to have an extrapolation of whatever you are doing. You have to be very mature. Seek guidance from people. Talk to people. Don't be shy. Even today, right? Like most of the people I have worked with at various domains, if I have any technical question that I have, I don't hesitate calling them. I call for lamest of the lamest things at times, and the network that I have is so great that they pick up the call, they answer me. That is going to help me make a better decision every time. So don't be hesitant about asking people. Few of the things that comes with decisions is it should be well, uh, uh, decided. As in, you say, okay, I'll do this for five reasons, but I'll not do this for three reasons, and you actually choose doing it, and then you don't really fall into whatever you decided. So that shouldn't be there. You shouldn't really regret. In terms of regret, I don't think I have any regrets. I have always ensured that I give my best every time I am put into something. It's either 100% or 0%. I don't work in the middle. I don't believe in half shots. Be it uh, developing a product, be developing a relationship with the client or anything for that matter, it shouldn't be half thought at all. It should be very clear, well thought, and well informed.
Well, NP, thank you for that candid conversation. You shared a lot of your experiences, and I hope this will help our audience a lot.
Sure.
So, thank you for joining us again.
Pleasure is mine, Ankush. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I mean, I usually uh, enjoy talking to people. I think you know me from a long time. I kind of get into conversations which help me understand from various perspectives how somebody sees anything in their life. So this was a good opportunity for me to kind of bring out some of my experiences, which probably will help somebody in any decision that they make or anything they seek as a guidance.
So, friends, that was Narasimha for you. I hope this episode helped you a lot in different things. We talked in detail about the manufacturing sector. We talked about USA. In further parts of this podcast, we are going to talk about different parts of the world and to different people working in different industries, different areas. So stay tuned for further episodes. Thank you.